Hello, I'm Mr. Bush's Uncle Joe, and Mr. Bush told me to introduce the next video. So, let's do some math. It was the second assignment on 9.21. How about 11.1? Thank you, Uncle Joe. Okay, let's do these problems. First one, we add 4. And v squared equals 7 for 8 for 9, 50. Again, not a perfect square. So if you want, you can take the square root of both sides and just leave it as square root of 50. V equals plus or minus the square root of 50. Or you can go in the calculator and find out what the square root of 50 is. And that's 7.07. So you could say V is approximately plus or minus 7.07. On this one, divide by -3. Ooh, a squared is, hey, do you guys know how to divide by 3? You can do that. You don't really need to grab a calculator. 3 goes into 17 5 times. But 3 times 5 is 15, so there would be 2 left over. If you put the 2 right in front of the 7, then you have 27. 3 goes into 27 9 times. So you can check it. 3 times 59 is 177, and that's what we were dividing it into. Anyway, just wanted to show you that little trick. Square root of both sides, remember the plus or minus. A is plus or minus the square root of 59, or is approximately plus or minus the square root of 59 is 7.68. 7.68. I don't think I'm getting any imaginary. I think I made a mistake. I'm going to do something. I'm going to change number 4 to plus just so you got an imaginary number. And this one will be good. Okay, so we're good. We're going to have this one be imaginary and that one be imaginary. This one is kind of special, but I wanted to get some eyes in the answers, and I don't have those yet. Anyway, when you add 8, n squared is 0. And when you take the square root, and remember the plus or minus, positive 0 is the same number as -0. So in this case, there's only one answer, n equals 0. Now this one, remember I changed the positive 3 just so I can have an imaginary number. Must have made a mistake when I put this worksheet together. X squared is negative, and I'll do that thing again. 3 goes into 8 twice, because 3 times 2 is 6. Twice. 3 times 2 is 6, so that means there's 2 left over. And 3 goes into 27 9 times again. And I'll check and make sure 3 times 29 is 87. That's what I wanted it to be. But now take the square root of both sides. Remember the plus or minus. X equals, now see that minus? When you're taking the square root of a negative, that means you need to take an I on the outside. The square root of 29. 29 isn't a perfect square. You could simplify it. Now, you're not required to do this, but remember, the square root of 29, since 29 is 3 times 9, and 9 is 3 times 3, the square root of 29 is the square root of 3 times 3 times 3. See, 1, 2, 3. And then when you're simplifying square roots, every 2 that are the same, 1 comes out. So the square root of 39 is 3 times the square root of 3. And we could do that, but you don't have to. This is a fine answer. We can find out what the square root of 29 is at decimal. That is 5.39. So X is approximately, oh, I forgot the plus or minus. Plus or minus 5.39 I. So when you write it as a square root, the I goes in front, but when you write it as a decimal or a whole number, the I goes afterwards. Okay, let's do this one. Ooh, it looks really similar to number 3. First thing you do is subtract 8, and you get b plus 5 squared is 0. Now take the square root of both sides. Remember the plus or minus. You get b plus 5 is, and remember positive 0 is the same number as negative 0, so it's just plain 0. And when we solve this, subtract 5, b is negative 5. Only one answer on this one. All the other ones have 2, right? Well, that's not true. This one only has 1. This has a positive square root of 50, negative square root of 50. This has positive square root of 59, negative square root of 59. Okay? This is positive square root of 29, negative square root of 29. For I times the square root of 29. This one we'll see. So add 5. What is that? 60. Okay. So negative 4 times m minus 1 squared equals 69. So when you divide by negative 4, (69) divided by negative 4, you get a negative 17.25. So m minus 1, oh, that's not an m, squared equals negative 17, oops, that's a 14. 17.25. Square root both sides. Remember the plus or minus. Now we want to take the square root of 17.25. The square root, 17.25. Don't try to take the square root of negative 17.25 because your calculator can't do it. You'll get an error, okay? But anyway, the square root of 17.25 is 4.15. So m minus 1 equals plus or minus I times 4.15. Remember that 4.15 goes in front of the I if you're using a decimal. Now add 1. And this one sneaks right in there. So m equals 1 plus or minus 4.15i. And that is it. Okay? Any questions? Send me an email. Maybe I'll answer by video. Maybe another one of my relatives will introduce me. Have a great day.